Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Okay, so today my topic is on innovation from an Islamic perspective. Um, I just would like to get to highlight based on the first presenter just now, Dr. Ridwan, and then after that, Dr. Arfifah, and recent just now, Dr. Norita. Out of these three sharings, I myself, the takeaway message that I can take for today is that it's all about knowledge. So same goes with my topic, which is on innovation. It has also to do with knowledge. Okay, so with this lecture, I hope that by the end of this topic, something that I'd like to share with all of you in terms of the innovation, because in business, innovation is central to ensure our sustainability, to ensure our success. We need to innovate. So there are some of the key Islamic principles why we need to encourage innovation, why we need to innovate. And then here, number three, I would like to share some of one of the approach to innovation. There are actually many approach or methods or ways to innovation, but purposely for this sharing, I would like to share the design thinking approach, something that I feel connect me, that I feel very comfortable to deal with. And then number four, to recognize some of the challenges in Islamic innovation. And finally, I'd like to share some of the practical tips for Islamic innovation. As I myself used to be a scientist, a technologist, and now I am a social scientist, every one of us actually doing this, okay, whether we realize it or not. Not necessarily we have to invent a rocket or an aeroplane whatsoever, but every day in our daily life, actually, we deal with this innovation. So what is innovation? I just would like to give a very common or general definition about innovation. Innovation is actually a process. It is actually a process to create and implement new ideas, methods, or products. So my lecture, the context of my lecture is in the business context. Okay, the keyword here is about newness. So when we relate newness in a business, there are many things actually. It is either newness in terms of the product itself, you come up with a new product, or in a service, in the technology, in the method, or even in a new customer. When I say about new customer, meaning that if, let's say, you are doing business for all this while in Malaysia, and then suddenly you've got a customer in other parts of the world, okay, in Indonesia, for example, or in the West. So for you as a business owner, okay, this is a newness to your business. So this is the definition, the basic definition for innovation. Because I still remember last time when I teach my social science student, the art student, the business student. The first time when I asked them about innovation, they always refer to something with the engineering, the medical science, the pure science. But actually, it is not. Okay, it's not only about the rocket science. It's not only about the medical technology breakthrough. We as a business, even though we introduce a small process in our company that is already considered as a newness, that is already considered innovation, but in the context of our business. Okay, so this is the basic or the common definition for innovation for everyone, as simple as creating and implementing new ideas, methods, or product or services. So there are actually many phases in innovation, but I just would like to give two categorization here. One is about the invention, and then one is innovation. So invention is actually when we create something new, and that's it. But then innovation is when we turn the new idea into a viable product, get it into the market, and people use it, people acquire it. So that's why last time when I did my research, I still remember my mentor told me that at least as an academic, Arbaiah, once you're done with your research, you need to apply something. So maybe our research is more on the theoretical base, but at least we can share our knowledge. We can share our knowledge in terms of the publication, for example. Okay, unlike if we are really doing an applied research, okay, then of course once we invent something new, then we need to turn it into something that will be viable or applicable to the others. Okay, so this is the two things, the invention and also the innovation. And then here there is also another terms, okay, the another terms when we are talking about innovation process. Okay, there are also another terms when people talking about exploration, exploitation, and diffusion. This is very much related in the business context. Okay, most of the time we explore new idea for our product development, for our service offering. So this is the stage whereby we do a lots of exploration out there through reading, through our knowledge, through our experience. And then once we search for the idea, of course, we will do the research and development. We do a lot of, just like what Dr. Norita said just now, there are many methods for training. Same goes with innovation. There are many methods for innovation. You can do research, you can do a brainstorming, okay, you can even do observation. So this is the stage of exploration. So once we've got the idea, then we tend to exploit. Okay, if in research, usually we have the terms adopt and adapt. Okay, when we've got some idea out there, then we can adapt. Okay, we can exploit it to produce a new invention that will be aligned with our market, with our user, with our business plan. As I share with all of you, the business model canvas. Okay, the center component of the business model canvas is about the value proposition. So yes, maybe you see an existing product, for example, a handphone. So how can we added value to the handphone? Okay, so this is actually how the way how we can trigger the innovative thinking in ourselves. Okay, so once we explore the idea out there and then we exploit, and what is more important is about the diffusion. If we have a very good invention, but it is only lying down on our shelf in our shop, for example, or in our lab, scientific lab, with nobody using it. So in my opinion, that is not considered as a successful innovation. Okay, innovation need to be taken up, okay, by the market, by the customer, and then we can spread the values or the benefits of the innovation with the others. So these are basically some of the terms when we talk about innovation, some of the terms that sometimes might be scare people. Okay, but may skip the words here might look like so very bombastic, but then actually, if we go back to the simple or the general definition of innovation just now, as long as it has the element of a newness, okay, and then the newness is not necessarily new to the world. Okay, it can be to your business world, your own company. Okay, so this is I hope that everyone will have the same idea, the same page about innovation, so that nobody is afraid. Oh, I'm not that good. I don't have any expertise. I'm still junior or something like that. Okay, but still, as long as we introduce something that is new, okay, to our company, to our businesses, then we can call ourselves as innovator. Okay, just like in the organization, the public organization, for example, in the government. Okay, we are non-profit organization, but there are many work processes. Okay, for example, from a manual writing form and everything, we can convert into a digital form, a Google form. So that is already element of newness in our work process. Okay, so next is here I just would like to highlight some of the key differences. I'm also learning, I'm still learning because for the past for 20 more years in the workplace, whereby I'm not working in the Islamic organization. I used to work in a non-Islamic organization, but this is something that I myself would like to remind myself, okay, and also the others, that there are some key differences when we are talking about innovation from the Islamic and versus the contemporary perspective. Okay, number one, for example, here the dual perspective of innovation. Okay, so in Islam, we are not only talking about the success and the failure. Okay, we are also talking about the halal and haram, the permissible and also the prohibited. Okay, so this is something that I myself, if I reflect, okay, if I reflect with my work to my work experience last time in the hospital and everything. So yes, last time we only consider whether the surgery success or whether the surgery failed. Okay, but then what is more important actually the effort of the doctors and the nurses, the scientists to save the patient's life. So are we using all the resources halal or okay, so that's why in Islamic innovation, the perspective is beyond the success and failure. And then number two, the source of guidance. Okay, so in innovation from the Islamic perspective, need to always be guided by the Quran and Hadith. And of course, there is also another scholarly consensus that align with the Islamic ethics and moral values, compared to mainly driven by the human reasoning or market demands or profit maximization. So this is also another key differences I myself okay, I would say that I may conclude that these are some of the differences between the Islamic innovation and contemporary innovation. If I recall last time when I did experiment in my scientific lab compared to now, then I can relate this. Okay, I can relate this because last time I did not get the source of guidance from Quran. It is all based on our scientific textbook. But for Islamic innovation, we need to go back. Okay, we need to go back to the Tawhidic epistemology, to the source of the guidance, which is the Quran and Hadith. So it will help us, it will guide us what is the purpose we are doing all this innovation. Okay, yes, we are doing all this technology development, but what is the purpose of it? Okay, and then number three, here, as I mentioned, it is about aim at the purpose is that to serve a greater good of for the society. Remember last time when I told you that about what is the purpose of a business. Okay, so there are certain mindset already got twisted along the way. When we ask, even my student, when I ask them what is the purpose of business, all of them answer, majority of them answer it is for profit. Okay, but actually the primary purpose of a business is actually to solve people problems, to fulfill their needs. Secondary to that, okay, byproduct to that, we got the profit. So that's why the purpose of innovation, okay, in Islam is to serve the greater good of the society, to ensure the benefits that is in line with the Islamic principle. Okay, justice, ethics, well-being. Okay, compared to mainly, okay, if contemporary innovation, they are only mainly aimed at individual or corporate gain only. Okay, so these are some of the differences, and then continue. Okay, number four is about the ethical boundaries. So in Islamic innovation, we have a very strong emphasis on the permissibility of the new ideas. Okay, coming back to the Sharia compliance, the halal and haram. Okay, converse to the primary concern is often about the efficiency and effectiveness, about the economic feasibility. So then the ethics will become secondary. But then in Islamic innovation, the primary need to be always ethical and follow the ethics, the principle ethics, and the Islamic ethics. And then number five is about the acceptance of change. Okay, so change, yes, everyone not very comfortable with change. But then if it has a purpose to serve the public interest, the maslahah, the benefit to the ummah, okay, and then it is aligned with the Islamic values, then in my opinion, it is permissible. Okay, it is permissible compared to the more flexible and limitation or liberal, where everything can be innovate. Okay, so for us as a Muslim innovator, we are not ordinary innovator, we are Muslim innovator. We need to ensure that whatever change, okay, whatever the newness that we would like to introduce into our organization, into our company, into our business, need to be in line with the Islamic principles. And then here, of course, number six is about the scope of innovation. I am no expert in Islamic studies, so that's why I myself also need to be very careful when we are talking about innovation, because is it here I highlight that it need to be primarily in the worldly affairs, technology, finance, medicine. But for religious innovation, I have to admit that I am myself not expert in this matter, and then I will let this, okay, for all the Islamic scholar to discuss further. Okay, so that's why in innovation, I feel comfortable when I reflect or recall my experience in the scientific lab, in my technology lab last time. So whatever we are doing, especially in the hospital, whatever that we are doing, okay, the things, the newness, the information system, the technology that we introduce in the hospital, it always about the purpose to save patient lives, okay, to save the people's life. So we dare not to touch into the religion, into the spiritual, the ritual of the religious. So even this, if we have a problem, for example, if a patient, okay, a patient is a bedridden and he or she would like to perform the solah, the prayer. So I myself cannot give the hukum or the fiqh how to perform. So we need to consult the expert. Okay, so we dare not to create something. Yes, it is in our context, meaning that in the hospital context, but we dare not. Okay, we don't go beyond that, beyond our expertise. So these six differences is something that I would like to share with the others based on my studies, based on my reading. So these are some of the key differences between the Islamic and also the contemporary innovation. Okay, so now I would like to move on to the Islamic view on innovation. If earlier on it's all about the general definition on innovation, what is the purpose, the scope, and everything compared to the contemporary innovation. So, from the Islamic view on innovation, these are some of the terms that refer to innovation: Islah, Tajdid, Ijtihad, and Bid'ah. Okay, so all this word is, to be honest, it is very heavy for me actually to introduce all these words, especially the word bid'ah. So based on my readings, okay, based on my readings on the Islamic articles, it is sufficient for me at this moment, okay, to refer the word innovation to ijtihad. Because as I said, this is something that is beyond my knowledge. Okay, I'm not expert in Islamic studies. So based on my reading, ijtihad is something that is more closely related to innovation. If you would like to really discuss, okay, what is the terms, okay, what is the terms that is more suitable to refer to innovation. So ijtihad is actually, yes, in the if we are talking about in the context of Islam, it is very advanced knowledge. There are many I would say only the expert can then talk about it, but then in my context is in the business context. Okay, ijtihad in the business context is something that the effort, okay, the effort to make an informed decision, okay, and then by interpreting the Quran and Hadith in addressing a new issues. Okay, in new issues. Okay, so that's why I highlighted here ijtihad. I dare not to go to discuss about the bid'ah. I myself not that knowledgeable in this knowledge, and then focus on worldly innovation, what is permissible, okay, that is in line in the Islamic values, but not in the religious innovation. Okay, so this one is strictly regulated, just like Dr. Afifah mentioned earlier on about our deen. It is already perfect. So that's why I myself would like to focus innovation in the business context. Okay, in the business context, and it is on the worldly matters. Okay, so in Islam, we also the Islam also emphasis on knowledge. So this is the root. Okay, so this is the center of innovation, the pursuit of knowledge. Okay, knowledge is very much central to innovation. Okay, and then we as a human being, we have the responsibility to improve the world. Okay, and then promote knowledge. Just now, either through exploration or through exquisition or exploitation and application, okay, for the society benefit, for the maslahah of everyone. So innovation based on the hadith, okay, there are some of the hadith that we can relate, okay, not specifically to the word ijtihad, but then about seeking knowledge. Okay, as Prophet Muhammad says that seeking knowledge is an obligation upon every Muslim. And then Prophet Muhammad once says that it also he also encouraged us to have a progress, to have a new development in the worldly and also religious matter. Okay, that's why we have all our Islamic scholars to do all the to come up with all the new fiqh and everything. Okay, so there is a hadith. Okay, there is hadith reported by Muaz, for example, here when Prophet asked the Sahaba, "How do you decide on things?" And then Muaz said that I decide by the law of Allah. Next, if the knowledge, the information is not in the book of Allah, and he will decide based on the Sunnah of the Prophet. And then if it is not in the Sunnah, Muaz replied that I swear by my opinion. And then the Prophet said that praise to be Allah who has guided the Prophet. So here, yesterday I just heard a lecture about all this bid'ah, all this ijtihad and everything. So that's why I need to be very, very careful to really talk the innovation from or ijtihad from the point of in the context of the business. In my opinion, as long as we strictly follow the Sharia, we strictly maintain our niat. Okay, the purpose of our innovation is for to seek Allah blessings, to help the people, to save patients' life, for example, and then of course comply to all the halal and haram, the Sharia compliant, and inshallah, okay, inshallah, we are in a good guidance. Okay, we are in the good path. Okay, so innovative Islamic scholars, okay, in the worldly matters is very much encouraged actually. It is beneficial, it's contribute to all the scientific and technology advancement. So even during the Prophet time, okay, even during the Caliphate era, many scholars actually are famous for their innovation. So these are actually our our treasure, the Islamic treasure actually. Al-Warizmi, for example, Ibn Sina, even our Prophet Muhammad. Okay, he was an innovation. Okay, yes, of course, he got the ideas from the others, but then he introduced the Madinah Charter, okay, the constitution of the Madinah, even though it is in terms of the policy, but still our Prophet introduce a new policy to the country, to Madinah, for example. Okay, so these are considered as a innovator. Okay, there are a lot of innovator in our Muslim world. Okay, in the modern era, if in Malaysia, for example, specifically we have our professor, our late Professor Diraja, our royal professor Waziz, who established Tabung Haji, for example. This is for finance, okay, saving corporation, and we also have our brothers in one, for example, in Singapore, who developed the Muslim Pro application. Okay, the kind of application that we used to, I myself used today, okay, in terms of the prayer time, the Quran, and many other things. Okay, so this is considered as a Muslim innovators. Okay, so the role of Islam in Malaysia, actually it is a fardu kifayah. Okay, it is a fardu kifayah collective duty, right? It is actually an essential tool for societal betterment. Okay, otherwise we are not progressing to anywhere. So as a Muslim, we need to be success not just in this world but also in the hereafter. Okay, so that's why we need to fulfill. Okay, we need to fulfill our social needs and also responsibility, but at the same time not undermine the Sharia principles. So this is something that in myself, okay, as a I used to be a scientist before, as I said, okay, I myself, this is something that is really different. Last time, maybe when I do my research or I experiment in the lab, I never thought about this. But now, since I know about this knowledge, now everything what I do nowadays, even though if I would like to share this kind of slide with my brothers and sisters here, I would like to find the original. Okay, the original, for example, the ijtihad. What is the original word? Maybe in the Quran there is no explicit word ijtihad, but the root words for ijtihad is jihad, jim ha dal. So there are many words in jihad in the Quran. So this is the source of the epistemology, the source of knowledge that we can always learn from, and then we can apply it to our current context or in our business context. Okay, so Islamic principle also encourage innovation, as I mentioned earlier on, is about ijtihad, and then also there is also another thing about the istihsan, okay, to consider something that is good, and then maslahah. So these are the terms or the principles that can support the development of any innovative solution. So as a scientist, whether you are a social scientist or you are a pure scientist, okay, so every time when we would like to do, okay, when we would like to when we face a new problem or a new needs, okay, whenever we would like to create a new idea, to invent a new idea, so we need to always consider, okay, all these principles, so that it will guide us to conduct a very ethical and a very beneficial innovation. All right, so intellectual, this one, when we are talking about knowledge, yes, everyone will have their own knowledge, everyone will have their own interpretation. Okay, so the Quran really emphasizes about seeking new knowledge, understand the universe, understand the problem in the universe, the historical contribution of Islamic scholars, and here recognize the right freedom of thought and expression, but we are guided. Okay, we have our in the process that we would like to propagate, or we would like to disseminate the values, the truths, and the knowledge to the others. We need always to come back to the original Islamic principle. Okay, always to come back to the Islamic principle. As I mentioned earlier on, it's not only about the success and failure. We need to go back to the halal and haram, okay, the scope and the purpose. Okay, so role of technology. Okay, so this is something to do with the technology. Technology is actually an artifact whereby we embed our knowledge into it. Okay, just like this PowerPoint slide. This is one of a technology actually. Okay, this is one of invention, and this is also someone create this PowerPoint last time, and then this is also an innovation. Why? Because we use this PowerPoint. Okay, and using this tool, using this innovation, the PowerPoint innovation, we embed our knowledge into the PowerPoint. Okay, so this is actually what it means by technology. Okay, so this is not only about all those engineering, all those technical things. No, technology is actually an artifact whereby we embed the knowledge into it. Okay, so modern technology, okay, we need to harmonize here whatever the new technology that we create. Okay, where whatever the new artifact, whatever the new product, whatever the new services that we create nowadays, we need to harmonize with the Islamic values. So that's why nowadays, I know that the thing now is about the AI, okay, about the artificial intelligence. But then recently also there is a news about the Microsoft company whereby they lay off the people or the team who are developing the AI. So why this happened? So we start to question why this happened. Okay, so that's why it requires us to think back why these people create all this technology, why these people create the AI, if we cannot harmonize with the Islamic values. Okay, so technology is actually a tools. Okay, tools to understand the world with the goal to enhance the human dignity, and then of course at the end of the day, to promote the benefits to the others and avoid the harms. Okay, so this is actually when we have a lot of technology nowadays surrounding us, we cannot run away from it. We cannot avoid it. We cannot, especially nowadays in the 21st century, we cannot live without a technology. Okay, so they are surrounding us. But what is more important is that what is the purpose we are using all this technology, and how we use the technology is more important. Okay, so it's just like a wave. Okay, we need to know how to navigate this wave carefully, using with all the Quran and the Sunnah as our main guidance. Okay, so innovation is also a very important, okay, in our society, in our ummah, because it helps us to make changes, as I mentioned earlier on, and then it also help our society to improve, to progress. Okay, so this is how innovation actually can connect. Okay, can connect between the knowledge and also the technology, with the purpose to improve the society for a betterment. Okay, to improve the society for the betterment. So there are many types of innovation actually in Islam. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, here in the business context is all more worldly innovation, whatever technology, whatever the product and services, okay, the process that we introduce in our business, maybe it is all because of the our business objective. But then as a Muslim innovator, okay, as a Muslim innovator, we need to always always balance, okay, balance between the faith and also the wealth. Okay, so we are allowed to get more wealth, but then we also need to remember that our responsible to the society. Okay, so in terms of religious innovation, all right, the deen is not permissible. Of course, we cannot create something that is core belief, in our core belief, in our akidah. Okay, as the Quran already mentioned, that Allah said that we already perfect your religion. Okay, but yes, there are something, okay, that in our day-to-day life, okay, maybe in the Quran never mentioned about the AI, but then that's why we have all our Muslim scholars who help us to come up with all the fiqh, okay, with all the laws on how to navigate with all these worldly things. Okay, so these are some of the examples, even that I found in the website saying that about the Muslim invention that shaped the modern world. Okay, so this is website that I came across last time, but I like to highlight that this is by the CNN. Okay, so something that I myself, okay, to be honest, I myself um to be honest, realize that, oh, something about the coffee, something about the um okay, I just like to retrieve the website. Okay, the articles published in 2010. Yes, I know it is about 15 years ago. Okay, but then nevertheless, okay, the website highlighted about the invention, okay, the invention that has changed, okay, that has shaped the modern world. Okay, in this article, it says there are many things actually. Okay, there are many things that is invented by our Muslim, okay, by our Muslim brothers and sisters. Okay, so let me see whether I can share the website here. Okay. So this is Muslim invention that shaped the modern world. So there is a website called 101 Invention. Okay, a book celebrating the forgotten history of 100 years of Muslim heritage. So there are many things actually. Okay, there are many things. Okay, based on I know that this is a quite old information. Okay, but then here some of the top outstanding Muslim invention. Okay, for example, surgery. Okay, of course, we cannot deny that Ibn Sina, okay, one of the Muslim scholar that is expert in medical as a biomedical student. We last time, yes, we mentioned about this, but then because I'm studying in a non-Islamic oriented university, and because of that, we don't really scrutinize, okay, the contribution of Ibn Sina in our study. But nevertheless, we appreciate him. Okay, so he is one of the top innovator in surgery, for example. And then we have also coffee, for example. Okay, here everyone drinks coffee nowadays. That is our lifestyle nowadays. But then coffee was first brewed in Yemen, for example, in the 9th century. Okay, the flying machine, okay, the university. So these are all our germs, okay, in our Muslim world. So if last time, okay, we can champion in innovation, so that's why nowadays we need to educate. We need to educate our young leader, okay, young leader in business, especially our community leader, our professional leader, okay, so that they can bring back all this success, okay, for the worldly matters, okay, to innovate. Okay, we need to encourage them. Okay, we need to encourage them to come up with all these ideas so that we can help to provide the benefit to the all maslahah. Okay, so algebra, optics, even music, toothbrush, the crank, hospitals. So all these are some of the invention, okay, that is created by our Muslim scholars. Okay, so I'd like to go back to our slide just now. I'd like to continue. So this is the example of the successful Islamic innovation. So now next, I would like to share with all of you about design thinking because there are actually many ways on how to innovate. We can do experiment in the lab. We can do an observation, or we can also do get the idea from the customer feedback. And there are many approach actually to innovation. Okay, to innovation. So this is one of the approach that I myself prefer to use it, and also share with my other student, my fellow student, and my colleagues. It is about the design thinking approach. Okay, design thinking approach is a approach. Why the reason I chose this approach is that it is a very human-centered design. Okay, last time when we innovate mainly to solve the problems, or yes, of course, but then in business, most of the time when we innovate, when we create a new thing, it is for to capture the market. Okay, to capture the market, to increase our sales, to increase our profit. Okay, so that's why when we use this method, at least it always at the back of our mind when we try to introduce a new thing, when we would like to introduce innovation in our business or in our company. So the people, the human will be the center of our innovation. So there are an overlapping roles between the human, the technology, and the business. Okay, so in the overlapping circle here, you can see this is where innovation lies. Okay, where all the knowledge, the information lies. Okay, using with all the innovation, knowledge and with the knowledge and everything, the technology. So this is the interrelationship between the business and also the technology and human. Okay, so we need to innovate. So this is the process basically about the design thinking. As I said, I choose design thinking approach because it emphasizes about building empathy for users. Okay, so these are the diagram in the center. Okay, as you can see here, it started by empathize, by understanding the people, meaning that whenever we would like to introduce a new thing in our business, in a new thing in our organization, or in our market, we always need to think about, always need to understand the people. Why we need to create this one? It is because of the people. Okay, so we need to empathize, and then we need to, of course, then we have to brainstorm our idea. Okay, we brainstorm our idea, we refine, and then we come up with a prototype. Then we test and we see whether all this process again will again suit with our people. Okay, so here I would like to go to the specific step by step of the design thinking process. This is actually from the Western perspective about the diagram, but then we can always relate to the Islamic perspective. Okay, the key principle of a design thinking process is about the human centered. It is iterative. Okay, it need to be meaning that it is not a linear cycle. Okay, you need to always repeat and repeat again until the phase, the process, the innovation will meet the people's problem. Okay, will solve the people's problem. And then it is actually a modern method, but then it is a very holistic, and it also emphasizes about the ethical responsibility and continuous improvement. Okay, so step number one, okay, if we refer to this one, we can see that it start from empathize. Okay, it start from empathize here. When you innovate using the design thinking process, you need to start with empathy and compassion. Compassion. So this is the foundation of human-centered design. Okay, so when we are talking about empathy, actually we can relate with one of the verse. It says that we have sent you. Okay, so accept as a mercy to the world, meaning that last time when our prophet sent down to us, actually to bring the rahmat. Okay, rahmatan di alamin to everyone. So through him, we learn a lot on how to navigate our world. So every time when our prophet would like to introduce a new hukum, for example, a new fiqh, he always think about the people, about the followers, about the companion, about the sahabat. Okay, so this is the thing that we can also correlate with the design thinking approach. Whenever we would like to innovate, we always need to be empathized. We need to always compassion towards our customer, towards our people, towards the end user who's going to use our technology, who's going to use the innovation. So it's not about the profits. It's not about the sales only. Okay, and then step number two is about the ideation and the creativity. Okay, once we understand the people, we understand the customer, we empathize their problem, we empathize with their problem, then we need to create the idea. So here is the step here is about fostering innovation that is purposeful, and also ethical and beneficial. Okay, so this is where we implement again about the ijtihad. This is our effort. Okay, our physical effort, our mental effort about ijtihad on how to solve the people's problem. First, we already know that the customer has a problem, has needs. So now the second step is that we need to implement our ijtihad using all the knowledge that we have in our head on how to come up with a new idea, new invention, new innovation to foster this one, so that at the end of the day it will be purposeful and ethical to the people. Once we've got the idea, then it comes to the stage whereby we start to develop the product, develop the service. Okay, that's why here there is another step. We call it as prototyping. So prototyping is something that is very common in the technical world, whereby we come up, okay, the proof of concept of our ideas. Okay, so here the element here is about continuous improvement. Okay, same goes with Dr. Norita just now mentioned about ihsan, about the itqan, okay, about the quality. So the first time when you invent something new, maybe there is not the product or the service is not perfect yet. So that's why we need to come up with a prototype, and then we do testing, we get the feedback from the people, the customer, and then we improve. Keep on improving the product and service, and until it can meet the user's needs. Okay, so there are also a verse. Okay, there are also a verse in the Quran that Allah loves those who are always act with excellence. Okay, so this is also another concept that we can relate in our daily life when we are doing something in our workplace, in our business. Okay, is this not only about business, but also same goes with those who are working in the government office, for example. We need to always improve our work process. Okay, we need to always continue for the improvement. And then number four, okay, this is also another element in the design thinking which I really like, that I feel that very suitable in our Islamic perspective, is about the collaboration and community. So when we are talking about collaboration, of course, the term shura, okay, the term shura comes to our mind, and it plays a very significant role in our decision making and problem solving. Okay, so now once we've got that's why in innovation, actually you cannot innovate alone. Okay, you need somebody in the process. Okay, at least as a customer, we need to consult the customer. So collaboration and community, okay, very play very important roles in our decision making and problem solving. Okay, and then finally, okay, about the ethical responsibility. So whatever that we do, we need to align back with the Islamic values. First, with the niyat, okay, with the when we do all this innovation, when we start to innovate, it start with the Islamic values. Okay, and then towards the end, we also need to make sure that it also in line with the Islamic values. For example, not to, that there is no harmful to individuals or society, and also the environment. Okay, so these are the design thinking approach. Okay, this is very common actually among the technical, okay, entrepreneurship. We use this kind of process, but then along the way, along the process of innovation, we always emphasize about this concept. Okay, this concept shura, the Islamic ethics, permissibility in terms of halal and haram, the benefit, the justice. Okay, shura is very important. Okay, Shura is better. So if you look at the design thinking process, this is not only applicable for those who are in the scientific or in engineering world. No, we also can adopt this one, especially in terms of the first emphasis about the empathy. Okay, empathize and compassion towards our people, towards our customer, towards our end user. Okay, then only we start to solve the problem. Okay, start to solve the problem. So these are the rules of ethics. Okay, and then there are some challenges. No doubt there are many challenges actually in Islamic innovation. For example, the tension between maintaining the Islamic identity and embracing the modernity, lack of resources, political instability, or access to modern technologies. So that's why we have the responsibility. We, for those who are having all the knowledge, we have the responsibility to balance between the religious tradition with the modernity. Okay, so we need also to concern about the ethics in the new technology. For example, in the chat GPT. Okay, so what are the guidelines? Okay, nowadays we cannot avoid, even among in the university context, for example, um, we cannot prohibit in total our student from using all this ChatGPT. But then that's why as a teacher we need to come up with the guideline on how to use this technology in ethical way, okay, in Islamic way. Okay, so these are some of the contemporary challenge that is going on from time to time that requires our collective effort together, okay, our collective effort, our ijtihad to help to provide a betterment, okay, for our ummah. Okay, so these are some of the suggestion on how to overcome the contemporary challenges. So always need to start with a good intention. Need to always start with a good niat, and then determine what is the purpose. Okay, what is the purpose of our innovation? And then whatever that we do along the innovation process, when we do the prototyping, we do the brainstorming, when we do the testing, okay, when we are getting feedback from our customer, we need to always merge. Okay, we always need to in line with the Islamic values. Okay, with the Islamic values, and then we need to make sure, okay, all we are the sources, okay, the resources that we use are halal, and then we need to show to others. Okay, this is also important to highlight, because sometimes people don't really understand what is the purpose of our doing. So we need also to share them, educate them, and show that whatever innovation that that we are doing, that is in line with our the Islamic values and also benefit the society. Okay, so these are some of the practical tips. So this is near to the end of my lecture. I just would like to share some of the tips that I myself collect along the way during the process of innovation, the process of innovation that all of us, I believe, that have conducted in your business, in your organization, in your office. For example, problem, we never can get away from problem. Every day we face a problem. Okay, so every day we will face a problem. It is a matter on how we solve this problem. So do we consult the Islamic resources or not? Do we seek shura or consultation, or collaborate with the scholars or expert in the field? And then we apply the ijtihad, the independent reasoning, and then ensure that we comply to the sharia. Okay, we comply to the ethics all the time. And then we need, at the end of the day, okay, it's not end with the innovation where people use our product. It's not end there. Number six is also very, very important. Once people apply our technology, once people apply our innovation, we need to always monitor the impact. We always need to assess the impact. Okay, so that we can always continuously evaluate the impact, and then we can improve. Okay, we can make a betterment. What are the weaknesses? Okay, what are the weaknesses? Okay, so these are some of the practical tips for the Islamic innovation. And then a final thought, okay, a final thought based from this lecture is that innovation in Islam is very much encouraged. It is a very vital for our societal development. But then we need to always remember that whenever we innovate, we need to innovate with empathy. Okay, and then throughout the process, we need to always continue to learn, continue to improve, and collaborate with the others. and apply the ethics principle in every decision making process, and then engage with the community so that the innovation we can turn the invention into a innovation, and from so that we can create a greater good for the others. Okay, so I think that is all from me. When we are talking about innovation, something that is central to business to ensure our business sustainability, especially nowadays. But then there are certain things when we try to create a new technology, when we like to embed, make sure that we have the knowledge. Okay, we have the knowledge whenever we do the innovation. So indeed, Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves. So I think that with that, I would like to end my lecture on innovation for today's lecture. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Arbaiah, and very spot on, wonderful session. Since we have some people from Nigeria and they have been commenting that it's time for Subha prayer there. So I would be just taking two questions which Dr. Khalid from Sunway Business School has asked. So if you can please answer a short answer to that questions. Number one question from Dr. Khalid is, can ethical boundaries in Islamic innovation restrict technological advancement in Muslim societies, or do they provide a necessary moral compass that contemporary innovation often overlooks?
Can ethical boundaries in Islamic innovation restrict technology advancement in Muslim society, or do they provide a necessary moral compass? Okay, as I mentioned earlier on, we as a Muslim innovator, okay, we have the key differences early on when I mentioned about the differences. Okay, so for us as a Muslim scholar, as a Muslim innovator, we have certain is Sharia compliance and everything. That's why I mentioned early on. Yes, of course, we have some kind of challenges nowadays, because if we follow fully the Islamic tradition, the one that is very strict tradition, if we would like to translate into our 21st century, maybe everything cannot be done. But then that's why we have the source of Tawhidic epistemology, a part of the Quran and also the Sunnah. We have also the Ijtihad and Qiyas. Okay, the lowest is the Qiyas, but the Ijtihad. So that's why we require more Islamic scholars who are not only from the Islamic background, but we also require a complementary knowledge, a complementary knowledge whereby we work together between the scientists and also the Islamic scholars, so that they will guide us during the ijtihad process. Okay, so that at the end of the day, the purpose of it, yes, we are using all the source from the Quran and the Sunnah, but then we also can come up with a solution, a new solution that is still comply to the Quran and Sunnah. So if we restrict, okay, ourselves to the purely the Islamic, we are so extreme about Islamic tradition, definitely. Okay, definitely, some of the things will restrict the innovation. Okay, so that's why the moral compass here at the end of the day is always about the purpose. Okay, the niyat, whether we are doing this to seek our blessings or for what. Okay, so that is the moral compass, in my opinion. Okay, even I
Mm.
myself being challenged every day. Okay, so at the end of the day, I will every day I will renew my niyat. Every day I will check, I will reflect. What is my moral compass today? What is the purpose I'm going to work today? Is it to seek for Allah knowledge, to seek our blessing, or what? Okay, so at least that is our moral compass that can guide us. Okay, question number two, how can public policymakers in Muslim majority countries strike a balance between the public interest and economic efficiency when evaluating and implementing new innovation, especially in the high-stake field like AI, fintech, and biotechnology? Again, if we, the Muslim majority countries, did not come up with this new technology, the non-Muslim countries will come up with the new technologies. So if we try to play catch up here, it really will exhaust us. So in my opinion, we accept, or we receive, I would say, welcome this technology openly. But then as a Muslim leader, okay, as a Muslim majority country, we need to come up with our own guidelines on how to navigate with all this technology. Okay, because in other part of the world, there are something new that is being invented by them. So we cannot play catch up with them. So what can we do is that we have to come up with our own guideline based on the Quran, based on the Sunnah, on how to navigate with this technology.